Wow, a very good morning to you watching Western Television, and it's always good to wake up to us, and this is where we give you the morning updates with me, Farish Majid, and it's a great pleasure having you on board from wherever you're watching us from. I must say you are most welcome, and yesterday I wasn't around, but I hope you did have a wonderful day with Mukulia Lawrence together with, that is the Inspector of Schools, Madam Buzazili, where they did talk about schools reopening really and how prepared the schools are, and maybe how the learners are also very, very much prepared to begin off with the new academic calendar. But I must say the turnout in most of the schools within Arua City, which we did traverse, was really very, very low, where most of the learners actually did not go to school, and we see them still loitering within the communities. And then definitely I do not know what reasons they may be staying home for, but I must say it is high time that the children really go back. And today is the 6th of February, I don't know why I'm still very much with January, really. Was it because January was too long, as usually people say, because usually people say this is a month that has about 60 days, and I'm coming to believe it because January really is one of the months that is really very, very long. But I must say we have already beaten January, we're into February, and the 6th day, which I must say is one also significant day, as the UPDF really is commemorating the Tarehe Sita, and we also do have lots more, and all you need to do is really be part of the show by really commenting on the various media feedback generating platforms, and we shall be in place to really also see your feedback very clearly and share with the rest of the viewers also. That is why it is very, very much important for you to always be part of the #1 show on Western TV, and this is where we let you know of what is happening in and around your vicinities. And remember, so many things did happen over the weekend, which some of which were not really broken up yesterday, and really I must say the UPDF, the Arua Muslim fraternity did lose one of the major generals that was in the army of Idi Amin, and this is Major Yusuf Gowon, which I must say we are still condoling with the family, and really see to it that we also pray for them, because these are people who made us proud as people of this sub-region. These were the heroes, and really I must say, as for West Nile, we really very much also appreciate them, and really also appreciate each and everybody out there. And really, before wasting any time, let's now start off with the discussions that is in line with education, where the turnout of learners in most of the schools, I must say, was very, very much alarming in most of the schools where we did move to. For instance, we did take a sample some schools in Arua City, and this is both government and private aided schools for both secondary and secondary, that is at primary levels. I must say the turnout of learners was really very, very much low. And really, I must say, I don't know why, because the children have been at home for more than 2 months, but now school is resuming for the new academic calendar, which is which will be able to run from, that is February 5th until the 3rd of May, which is for 89 days. And now some children are home, and that is where they're also excluding themselves from going back to school. I do not know if the children who are still home are the ones that we are called the legends. We do remember while in school, we did have children who really called themselves legends, who would actually report to school after 1 month and after 3 weeks, which to me was very, very bad. And this actually reflected on their performances, and really also because what they learn where they have missed is not something that I must say is they miss a lot, because they come to school, maybe what the teachers may be able to teach on the first day is what they could set maybe at the beginning, at the end of the term. So I think it is very, very wrong for children to really have that negative perception, because this negative perception has always been there, that the first days are for cleaning the school. Now, who is to clean the school for you? If you are really the child, you want others to go and clean for you, and really for you just want to come and find an environment that is very clean. And I think that is where the negative stereotype, the negative mindset needs to go away, because now schools no longer do that. Because in most of the schools I was able to interact with most of the head teachers and the deputies, they were able to tell me that this is the stereotype that has always been there, and indeed it is true, because while growing up this is something that we really knew that happening. But now, even yesterday, the inspector of schools was here, and she did say they prepared the schools before opening, and this is where they engaged the school heads before actually ensuring that the schools were reopened, and they had to ensure that the schools were cleaned up by different stakeholders, because the schools had to pay for cleaners, and really to ensure that the schools are reorganized, and they had to ensure that mandate is fulfilled. But now we still have the negative stereotype among some parents, among some children, that the first days are for cleaning the school and there's not much learning. But most of the schools that we did move, we also did see learning kick off, and really I must say, for those who are still home, we hope that you can be able to report today and maybe tomorrow, because the school heads are also optimistic that the numbers would actually increase And that is where I must say we need to really ensure that we go back to school today, because the weeks that are remaining may not be. You are looking at 89 days. I must say the 89 days are very few. Little will you know that the end of the year will just really hit you. So I think it is not good. So I think really I want to call upon each and every parent plus everyone out there to ensure that they really ensure that their children really go back to school today or tomorrow, so that really they cope up with the learning. Remember, we are a region, as West Nile sub-region, we are a region that is really still battling, that is poor academic performances, which I must say is very, very much shocking and alarming, because the numbers of first grades, even in the recently released PLE results, we are quite alarming, because there were very few numbers, very few schools registered first grades, and one of the poorest performing districts was actually from West Nile sub-region, and I must say it was Mariokolo, which I really want to call upon now the stakeholders to really ensure that they go back to drawing boards and ensure that they improve in the academics, because one of the reasons as to why I do understand that the schools are not performing, because it is really sometimes that the teachers and the learners plus the parents, the attitude that they have towards learning is not good. So I think the district also needs now to improve on this, to ensure that the children really go back to school. Maybe if they put stringent laws, if they pass bylaws, and maybe this will also really ensure that the children who want to be home will be able to really improve on academics, because this is a region where we are seeing people get married at young ages. The children, the girl child mostly, who is vulnerable to early marriages, which to me is not good, because the child who is supposed to be in school will be able to really return at a later age, maybe past the primary school age, because this is a challenge where we did see actually that was raised by the DO, I mean the city education officer who was here earlier sometime. He did actually allude to it, that most of the children who really came back to school are children who had moved out of school. They are past the primary school age going. So I think that also really affects their understanding in classes, and once they fail, because really in the recently released PLE countrywide, the number of people who failed to continue with the rest of the education was 88,000. And you look at 88,000, really I must say this is quite a huge number. And these are children who will not be able to proceed to that in secondary, and maybe if they can be able to branch off to the rest of the schools that are around, the technical schools, maybe the skilling centers, that would actually also really be good for them, because if they don't receive, then there's no way they're going to proceed with education and with their ages, really, because most of the learners who really failed are past the school, primary school age, and they're above 15. So really, you find somebody who is 18 years, who is 19, who is 20, instead in primary, and this such a person, when he or she fails, it makes the person feel very, very bad, because he feels, first of all, he's grown up, then definitely he may not be able to also really make it. That is why sometimes these children really find it very, very difficult to continue with education. So my humble appeal is, let's ensure that we start learning from the first day. I must say also some of the boarding schools did register over the weekend, and this is where they did report to school, and they did also ensure that they register to really go back to school. And for the private schools and then maybe the boarding schools, I mean the day sections, they started yesterday, and today is the second day, and this is the first week for them to really also start ensuring that they go back to school, which I must really call upon now each and everybody to ensure this mandate is fulfilled. Because why the children really also did report to school, some of the teachers actually said this blame goes to the parents, because during the festive season some of the parents really spent, and that is unnecessarily, and remember during the festive season we kept reminding them to also ensure that they save some monies for the children to really go back to school. And now the children are going back to school. The lack of scholastic materials such as books, pens, and then other needs such as uniforms are not there now, because really for them to send the children back right now, they are still struggling to ensure that they raise the money. But I know being a parent is not an easy thing, because as a parent you are the hero and really you're a champion, and really you have to ensure that the children really go back to school. So I want to really call upon the parents whose children are still with you at home. You have to do something in the remaining days. Otherwise, the children will be able to remain at home and look at you, which is quite unfortunate, because the teachers are now saying for them they're ready to do their part. And then it is you, the parents, who are actually letting down the children. And this is actually one factor that has also been attributed to the poor performance when it comes to this region, that the support the parents give the teachers is not enough. So I think I want to believe, and I want to really have a feeling that this is true, because in most cases, in some of the regions where we see the children really performing, because it comes back to the point of that is empowerment, because I think the empowerment that is being given to the teachers is very, very huge. So they really have to also deliver and really give back to the parents who are really ensuring that they support them. But when it comes to this region, recently we in Terego, that is Terego district, where they also did raise this challenge of really pupils not performing, being blamed on the parents. So I think parents now need to do a lot when it comes to supporting the parents and really the schools, and in terms of supporting the teachers, because the teachers really move very, very far distance. So I think the stakeholders there did call, that is the parents, to ensure that they build, that is the school staff houses for the teachers to really reside within the school premises. So I think that would be quite good, so that they cannot also really move very far long distances, because if they move very far distances in terms of small rains, a teacher may not be able to really want to come and teach the learners, because we have seen this happening. So I think it is high time if the teachers and the parents really work together, and the PTA also, to me, now needs to really up their game. So I think the PTA, which is really very, very much strong in terms of running the schools, needs now to come up and clearly lay strategies to see to that the performance of the learners in this region is really beefed up. So I don't know what you think, and maybe how you feel the teachers could really work together with the parents in terms of really ensuring that the performance of learners in this region is beefed up, because really we are grappling with that is poor performing academic performances, which does not really make some of us very proud. So I think people who love the region, then definitely you need to really lay strategies, and your comment actually could maybe be able to help the different stakeholders who are watching. So I think there's need for the teachers of this region to really work together, and there's need for collaboration, because if we work individually, then definitely it is not good. It is not going to really help our region. Then we will be able to really continue being that region that is known for poor academic performances. So I think there's need for the parents, the learners, the teachers to work together, because while really in school, because they told us really one of the things that for a child to perform, all these stakeholders need to work together. The teacher, this is where the child gets the knowledge from, because the teacher is the one that teaches the child and gives the child maybe what may be able to come in the exams, and really how the child may be able to understand what is being taught. So I think there's need for the teachers really to beef up their game in that area. Then the parents, you have a role in terms of buying scholastic materials, in terms of paying school fees, in terms of also offering guidance, because you are not only going to do that, but sometimes also have parents who really feel after giving the child the school fees, after really giving the child the money, it is enough. No, I must tell you that is not done. That's not the end of the case. It is not yet done. You have a role to also really continue checking the child and see how the child is performing in school, maybe if the child has reported back to school, because sometimes we have children who are very, very much stubborn. They may be able to solely claim that they are going to school, and yet in other words, they actually do not reach the school compound. So I think that is one thing I must also say. As parents, we have a role to play in, and definitely if we do that, then definitely it will be able to certainly continue to really impact on the academics of this region. Remember, this region is still one that is lagging very much behind in terms of high quality academics. So I think we need to really support our schools rather than move our children away from this region. Now we are seeing some people really moving their children to go and study in the private schools outside the region, and maybe other government schools that are performing outside the regions. For instance, we have parents now who are taking their children to Central region. We have those that are taking their children to Western Uganda. We have parents who are taking their children to Eastern Uganda, to some of those giant schools. We're neglecting our schools, and really this is also greatly impacting on the poor academic performances, because what we're exploiting out may be the cream that could actually raise our flags very, very high. So I think there's need for stakeholders really to work together, because if you move the bus park, if you have to move in the bus parks right now, you'll be able to really find out that most of the people who are traveling, these are children who are school-going ages. So I think they are going back to school. So I think, plus their parents who also, I think this is where now there's need for the parents to really work together in terms of ensuring that the children are helped. And other than that, we shall be able to really continue lag behind the poor academic performances, because really look at our traditional schools that have failed. Most of them have failed because some of the parents who are supposed to take their children to these schools have failed to embrace this, because now those who have the monies, more so the middle class, they prefer taking their children away from this region to go and study in the other parts of the region. So I think it is quite bad, and this really affects our academic performances, because what we are taking out could be the cream that could really keep on raising our flags high. Why am I saying this? If results are released, check the results of the Central region. You find out sometimes the names are names from here. You find names like Okuyo, you find names like Anguyo, you find names like Pario. These are the ones that are really dominating and passing very high in the other regions there, and we really keep our children fail back here. So I think this would actually really have a great impact, because the cream that we are taking out could actually really interact with the learners here, and that would actually also in one way or the other really improve on the academics, because those who have really remained here, we have seen sometimes also them trying and really passing to the levels that we also do not expect. So I think there's need now for all the stakeholders to work together and really address the challenge of poor performance when it comes to this region as schools are reopening. And yesterday schools officially did open. I must say one thing I should be able to remind you who may be able to join me right now is that the turnout definitely wasn't appealing, because in most of the schools, the classes were very empty. Really, I must say. This is moreover for the continuing classes that are really opening up. And really, if you look at all these classes, which was to me very, very much alarming, because we do not have the senior ones who have not yet reported, and we do not have senior fives who are reporting. But what about the other classes who did not report? Really, I must say this is where we are seeing challenges of now them going to the next level. Right now, to the senior ones, they are looking for schools. Recently, we did see the exercise that is for selection going on, and that is in Kampala, where we did also see some of the schools really going there to really ensure that they select the learners who could be able to get the admissions to their schools on merit. So I think those ones who are yet to come, we need to give them vacancies. So I think this is to the parents. We need to really ensure that the parents who are bringing children to us as the schools, we need to really give them the chance and really also admit these children to our schools, because we are seeing a challenge of really sometimes people not wanting to embrace our schools. That definitely, to me, which is really not quite good, because it's affecting our performances. So I think there's need for the parents now and the schools to ensure that they work together with these learners, such that their academic performances in this region will be able to really improve. Because really, one time somebody was telling me this, I didn't know that this was the truth. One of the teachers, while I was still in school, used to tell us, when you're sitting for these exams and when your parents are paying for your school fees, it is you and your parent really paying for the school fees. But when you're sitting for the exams, it will be you alone. But wait, when the results will be able to be released, everybody will want to really see how you are performing, because the results are for the community and not for you. So that is why when results are released in this sub-region and we do not really perform, we feel the pain, because we carry the shame. And that is why we need to really work together, because if West Nile fails, we are not happy. But if West Nile really works hard and really raises the flag very much high, we are all proud, and really we start really boasting of where we come from, and we start really talking about West Nile sub-region as West Nile. But you wait, when results are released and things are not well, this is why we move with the heads down. So I think if we are really to avoid moving with our heads down and really not talking in public, then we need to support one another as stakeholders, because you as the parent, you a stakeholder, you as the learner, you a stakeholder in the academic process, and you the teacher, really, you play the greatest role, because you are supposed to give these learners the 70% according to what we know. So I think you have to really ensure that there is no absenteeism, and remember, not reporting on the first day is already up to absenteeism. That is where we need to ensure that all the learners report back to school. All the schools really ensure that they support the learners, because teachers, really, you need to be on ground on the first day. So I think your presence there is really quite appreciated. In most of the schools, I must say, I was able to move to Asuru Primary School, I moved to Arua Primary School, I moved to Soma SS, I moved to Arua Public, and so many other schools. I must say the teachers really started with business, and really where academics started right from the first day. I was able to see how the teachers really started with those that we are already in place, and really I must say maybe this could be a result that they were not happy about the results that were released. So I think there is need now to work harder and really ensuring that this will be able to certainly have an impact on the poor academic performances in this region. So I want to call upon each and everybody to ensure that they report their children back really in terms of really reopening, because day one is not for cleaning the compound as it used to be. And really I must say some people did not want to really ensure that they really go back to school in the first week, which to me is quite bad, because in most cases also we do understand that some of the people who report to school on the first day, others do not actually report on that's on a good note, because they feel maybe they're tired of home, more so the girl child, who are really also sometimes that is forced to do domestic work. Really sometimes that is why they pray for school to really come up very much high. Because if you look at the numbers yesterday, I must say girls reported in more numbers than boys, because the boys were still loitering in the communities and others really did not actually report to school. So I think there's need for all the stakeholders to now ensure that the academic performance in this region is beef, And one way we are going to really support our academic performance to improve in this region is through ensuring that we are timely. So I think absenteeism, which to me was really something that we did see yesterday, where most of the learners did not report to school, that's already absenteeism, because what was taught in the first day, you may not be able to really have a feeling or maybe of how to understand it in the next day. So I think that is why we need to really ensure that now the parents who did not send their children back to school yesterday can be able to do it today and in the coming days, so that business resumes, and then our children may be also be able to learn so many things in the beginning of this term, because this is a term that is also full of sports, and I do understand that it is also a big term of business because co-curricular activities is where it is part of the academics. So I think because we are talking about Ministry of Education and Sports, and definitely this is one of the terms that is going to be busy. But now with that, really allow me running for a short commercial break. And when we return back, we shall be able to pick up with the conversion. We still have lots more on the morning updates with me, Farish Majid, and it's a great pleasure having you on board. For now, let's first take a short commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. In case you are just joining us right now, you are most welcome to the Kokoliriko live show with me, Farish Majid. And we started right from the hour of 7, and we are still continuing with you up the hour of that's 9 a.m. And remember, this show comes from Mondays to Fridays, and this is where we give you updates and insights on some of the stories that may be trending on the media outlets. So I think it is very much important for you to really always watch the show, because it is going to leave you an informed person, and that is where you can also as well share your comments with us. So I think it is very, very much important for you to always be part of the show, and for you also to really share your comments with us. And for those of you who have shared your comments, we do very, very much appreciate you. And we do have Richard Enrio, and he's saying that he's catching us live from Kampala City. We also have Blessed Freds and catching us from Jupala. We do have, that is UG Vice Brayo, and he's from Odia. We do also have, that is Isaac Kumakech, all the way from California, and this is where I must say you can always watch us from any part of the world, and I must very much appreciate Kumakech for that. We do have that is Mahad Rashid, and he is all the way from the Middle East, and that is in Dubai. So I really very much appreciate him also, and he is an ardent viewer that is always watching the Kokoliriko live show. We do very much appreciate you. May Allah also really grant you strength from wherever you are. We also do have Aliku Benjamin, and he's saying good morning everyone, and he's catching us live from Kampala, and not forgetting Mad once again there. We do very much appreciate you for these comments, and really just like these other people, you can also really share with us really what you think about the show, and really where we can be able to really support the stakeholders, because what we discuss here are the pertinent issues, and really we look forward to really correcting some of the issues, and that is why we always start off the show right from the region. And really remember, our number one mandate as West Nile Television is to ensure that we enlighten the region, and really one way we are going to be able to that is to enlighten the region is actually through supporting one another. And how do we support one another? It is through discussing what is really happening here, and really also laying strategies to it. So I think that is why we really always start the discussions right from home, and that will be able to really shape that is the discussions for the other topics. So I think it is very, very much prudent for you to really always share your comments with us, and always watch the show from wherever you are, and that definitely will be able to really have an impact, and that is a West Nile sub-region. So I think I must appreciate all these people. And today being the 6th, and really with this, we did discuss a lot of issues that is in relation to the education sector, and that is where we started the discussions from. Now, moving away from that, the UPDF today is celebrating the 6th, that is the 43rd edition of, that is the Tarehe Sita, and this was the day when the UPDF launched operations against the government. So I think that the other governments that were in place, and this was really to ensure that they really lay strategies for the peace that we do enjoy today. So I think today the UPDF will be able to do a lot of activities. Now the team that we were able to have in the studio, unfortunately they will not be able to really make it to us here, because their program is starting at 7 a.m. and really the brigade commander, whom we are supposed to really host on the show, is not going to be with us today, but we really look forward to having him anytime from now. So I think he will be able to join us in the coming days, and really also tell us more about the Tarehe Sita. He was supposed to be joining us, but unfortunately the program that he's leading today is one that cannot really allow him to do so. So I think the day is crucial. That is, it's a crucial date, and 6th of February is when it was official that the struggle that is led by the NRA against the other governments that were in place was really launched. So I think Tarehe Sita is a crucial date in Uganda's history, symbolizing not only the triumph of, that is, the National Resistance Army, but also the aspirations for a united and prosperous and inclusive nation. So I think as Ugandans that celebrate this day, they reflect on the past, celebrate their achievements, and look forward to a brighter future. So I think that is why this day is always celebrated. And this is where somebody may be asking ourselves, what is the Tarehe Sita all about? Because some people out there may not be able to understand what the Tarehe Sita is all about. But I must say, this is one of the important days in the lives of the UPDF. And they actually launched this a few days ago with cleaning most of the parts. That is where they did also really clean some of the areas. We did see UPDF really coming out as part of that is the corporate social responsibility to clean the city. We did see them cleaning the cities, sweeping, really collecting garbage. And remember, the national celebrations for this day will be in Bugweri, but that does not really stop the rest of the cities and the districts from really celebrating this day. And Arua City, I must say, they're already starting off with the celebrations, and the team is now gathering. That is at the mayor's gardens. So I think they will be able to move a number of cities, a number of places, because on this day there are parades. And really, if you want to see how beautiful parade is, then definitely should be able to really watch what the UPDF is doing. So I think today they are going to really ensure that they move around and really also do so many things as part of this day. And this day is also known as the 6th of February, holds a special place in Uganda's history. I must say it commemorates the day in 1981 when the National Resistance Army led by Yoweri Kaguta Museveni launched an armed rebellion against the government of that is Milton Obote. So Tarehe marks the beginning of protracted liberation struggle that eventually led to the overthrow of successive regimes and the establishment of a more stable government. The NRA fought for the liberation of Uganda from what they perceived as corrupt and oppressive regimes. So I think that is why the day, and this is why the government that we have today went to the bush, because of oppressive rules, and really they want to create a government that is for all. So I think that is why we celebrate this day today. It is the 6th of February, and this is when the day is celebrated. But these celebrations, as I said earlier on, could actually begin, that is in some few days, with the cleaning exercise, and today just come to climax the whole celebrations. So one of the key aspects of the Tarehe Sita is it fosters unity, and that's national unity and reconciliation. That is why it is celebrated. It is actually really to beef up national unity and reconciliation. After all these things now, the UPDF comes and says, despite us doing all these things, let us reconcile and work together with the different governments. So I think that is why it is very, very much important for this day to be celebrated. And remember, after the conflict, efforts were made to bring people together, and that is from the different backgrounds, ethnicities, and regions, to rebuild a nation that is collectively for all. So I think that is why struggles are being put in place, and this is why people strive to celebrate this day, so that the Tarehe Sita is not only a celebration for the military victory, but also a reminder of the ongoing commitment of the Uganda forces towards building economic recovery and development at the post-conflict period. So initiatives to rebuild infrastructure, promote education, and stimulate economic growth for the benefit of all Ugandans. So I think that is why this day is really celebrated. And remember, each year, Ugandans celebrate Tarehe Sita with various events and activities, and these may include, that is, military parades, cultural performances, and community gatherings. It is also a day to honor the sacrifices made during the struggle and reflect on them. So I think so many people really lost their lives into the struggle, and that is why really we need to celebrate this day, and we join the UPDF in celebrating this day. And despite the bad relationship that really people have towards UPDF, remember, some people really fear UPDF, and really when soldiers step in an environment, some people may not be able to really stay and play it cool. They really have that fear when it comes to that is peaceful coexistence with the UPDF. So I think this is also something that maybe I could be able to really appeal to them and to work towards, because we have seen the UPDF coming to the Wananchi and really working together with the Wananchi, something that I must say is very, very much beautiful. And really I did see the UPDF moving through the streets and really cleaning, and really that was something that really amazed me. And I did see them also really uniting with other forces such as police, and I must say it is a beautiful thing for you to really see sometimes the security agencies working together, because really they are to do the same, what they are to do is really is the same thing. So really me to see them work together, really, I must say, amazes me a lot. And that is something I must say I always want to look forward to, because sometimes the relationship that these people also have is very, very much bitter and very much sour, which to me is not quite good. So I think there's need, and there's also need for us to embrace that unity that these people are trying to foster in, and that will also really bring development, because the socio-economic transformation that we have seen the president talk about is something that we cannot really exclude today, that we are seeing this reality. We are seeing the struggles coming on ground, where the PDMs and the Enyogas are there in place, and to really ensure that these people are helped. And that is why sometimes people need to really ensure that they come out really to get these monies and put them into proper use. But in most cases also, in some of the areas, maybe some of the barazas we have been moving to, we have realized that some people are misusing these monies. Somebody writes a good program, a good project, but when this money, such as the 1 million comes, they tend to misuse it. This is where we are seeing people using this money for buying hoofers. We are hearing that people use the money for marriages. We hear that people have become millionaires in terms of really drinking this money. So which is quite good, because the government is struggling to ensure that you get something for yourself, and then you are also really not ready to benefit from that. So I think that is quite bad, and that is why we need to ensure that really such monies help us, because the 1 million, maybe you would get to a millionaire. So I think that is why when government is giving us this money, let us really ensure that we get the money and use it into the proper use. So I think that is why really this day talks about the socio-economic transformation, and that is why we have seen UPDF sometimes very much active into some of the activities that are into poverty eradication drives, such as the Operation Wealth Creation. We have seen them really striving very much to see to that the masses really benefit from these funds. So I think that is why it is very, very much important for this day to be celebrated, and the 6th of February is very much historic. But now what remains is that how is UPDF trying to work towards, that is, bridging the gap that it has created, that is with the community members, because in most cases, once people see UPDF in an area in huge numbers, the environment is usually not quite good for them, because they start really fearing, because they start living in fear, which to me is not the right thing. So I think there's need for UPDF to really start ensuring that they work together in terms of really bridging the gap, that is in terms of relationship, that to me, which is far-fetched still. So I think there's need for the forces to really work together in terms of really bridging that gap, maybe in terms of also handling the masses, and that is why the issues are coming, because to me, if that is not addressed, then the relationship that we are talking about may not be able to be yielded. So I think my humble call to them is that let's build Uganda that is for us all, as it is talked about, because it's supposed to be a Uganda of inclusive, but we have seen that we're struggling towards that. So I must appreciate UPDF for that, and really also say that we are celebrating this day together, and it is a day for us to all celebrate, because you serve us and we are there for you. So I think this day is very much important, and the Tarehe Sita is a crucial date. Really, it is one of the days that really we must really honor. So as Western Television, we honor this day, and we say that we are still going to be with you in this day here. Remember, so many districts have been organizing this. I must say so many districts have been able to really ensure that they really be part of this day. And if you move to some of the districts in West Nile, you will be able to tell us that, you will be able to realize that some of the districts actually started their days with so many things. There are so many activities going on, and that is where we shall be able to really see to it that if you move to Kitgum, the local celebrations of a good relationship is with UPDF is what we are witnessing there, as the Uganda Coast Defense Forces, that is joined with Uganda Police and Uganda Prison Services to clean, that is Kitgum municipality ahead of the Tarehe Sita celebration, which is taking place today. And locals in Kitgum municipality rejoiced over years of good working relationship they have been with the UPDF. And that is something that we are really talking about, and we cannot exclude. And now locals in Kitgum municipality were delighted to witness Uganda Post Defense Forces cleaning Kitgum's main market and other parts of the town, as well as donating blood to help the sick in the hospital. So I think this is where we are talking about what we have been discussing about. In Arua City, we also did see them doing the same. And some of the streets that I did see UPDF really cleaning is the hospital road. I did see them very much active there, cleaning and removing the garbage, which have been there for some days and not being removed. Really, it is quite good, because sometimes once they come out and really ensure that they do certain things, then definitely that would be able to really make reflections on maybe what we're talking about. So I think it is high time for the other forces to really ensure that they also really be part of this. So I think that is why it is very much important really for people of this region to really support the UPDF in terms of achieving that. And now locals, that is Daniel Oroma, applauded UPDF exhibiting a high level of professionalism while protecting Ugandans and their friendly way of working, so which is something that the community is appreciating. And really this is something I was talking about. If the relationship, which to me is still far-fetched, is not really worked towards, and then definitely that will not be able to really ensure that they really benefit from. So I think if this is not addressed, then definitely we are still going to be witnessing the fear that is existing among the society. So I think people need not to fear UPDF, but rather just respect it, because once people start fearing you, then definitely they may not be able to really respect you. So Colonel Patrick Opira, commander of 105 Brigade, that is in Lamo and Kitgum district respectively, says while celebrating the 41 Braves Ugandans who launched the first attack, that is on the 6th of February, under the leadership of, that is, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, as UPDF have been using most of their pre-event activities to deepen their relationship with the local community. And remember, this is a government that was really, this day is actually in honor of the 41 Ugandans who really launched the operations against, that is, the government of Obote. So all these Ugandans are being really praised. So within these days, they are heroes. And that is why the army that we are now witnessing today, that is with over 1,000 forces, really is now being bragging of. Because if you look at our soldiers, the numbers have really grown over the years, which to me is quite good, because they have been able to really provide security for the masses. And that is why I must say we very much appreciate the leadership of, that is by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for really ensuring that that happens. Now what is remaining is just small errors, if UPDF is able to improve on, in terms of really the suppressive nature, in terms of really beating the people, which to me is very much brutal sometimes. If that is really addressed, then definitely this relationship we are talking about will be able to really be improved. So I think Cyrus Oriem urges the city Kitgum municipality, urges the leadership of Kitgum municipality to always organize and make it a routine with activities and with different stakeholders of the district to participate in cleaning the town for health, well-being. Because really this is something that we talked about. On this day, the UPDF is not only celebrating through marching, but rather they do so many things such as cleaning the city, which we did see them actually starting right in the last week. We did see them UPDF during the launch of this operation, this Taresita week. We did see them actually cleaning so many areas. We did see them engaged in that is blood donation drives, which to me is quite good because we have to support them, and that definitely tells us that the UPDF is actually here to serve the masses, and that is why we also need to really support them. And if we do that, then definitely they will be able to really support us back in terms of really ensuring that we are helped. So I think this is why the UPDF needs now to come out and really support us and also leave cases of them beating the civilians during some times. So now moving away from that, let's move away from that. The bishop, that is Bishop Pons Onzele, condemns murder of border riders in Greater Nebi. And remember, this is a period where we are also seeing cases of insecurity rising, such as border theft and the murder of border riders, which to me is not quite good, because really we see these cases right from the festive season in numbers, which now the bishop is now condemning. The bishop of that Nebi Anglican Diocese, Right Reverend Pons Onzele Awinjo, has strongly condemned the violent acts of killing and robbing border riders during day and night routines, which to him is quite bad. Now in his message comes shortly after he had warned the border riders against engaging in night operations in the district of Nebi, Pakwach and Zombo, which puts their lives at risk. Remember, this is something I must also really appreciate the bishop for, because as religious leaders, really, your voices, I must say, are very much louder. Sometimes people very much listen to you than the other leaders. So coming out and supporting government, maybe security agencies in some causes, is very much welcome. And now this is something I must also really call upon the rest of the religious leaders also to embrace and see to it that they also come out clearly to also echo their voices, commenting during a preparatory meeting that is yesterday at St. Stephen's Cathedral, Gori. The bishop has also condemned the act before really appealing for better coordination, that is between security leaders and the local leaders and the border station leaders, which to him really it was an emergency. And I believe if this is addressed, because we have really had cases of borders being murdered and their motorcycles taken, not only in this Greater Nebi, but also we have seen it stretching up to ends of Arua, where we also see some of the border riders really losing their lives, sometimes also losing their motorcycles, which to me is quite bad, because we have cases where somebody loses the motorcycle that he had borrowed. We have heard of these cases. These are not rumors. We have seen them happening, and the borders actually we have been also been told the motorcycles, after disappearing, more so in Arua City, find themselves in the neighboring districts, maybe the neighboring border districts of DRC and South Sudan, which to me is not quite good, because somebody whom you are murdering has been a breadwinner in the family, has been the one feeding the family throughout the day, maybe throughout the life, because the family could be able to be depending on this family that you are murdering, family member that you are murdering. Then what does the family really have for you? And what kind of prayers you as the thief that is the family going to offer to you? Because you are making people cry for you, which to me is a curse. That is why we really need to condemn the killings of the borders, because really they are there to survive. Some people cannot work during day. They feel better working during night, because they really feel that really this is where they get the money. In Arua, we have a section of the borders that work at night. They call themselves the TNS. We have seen them serving out through night, because at night we may also be able to really have emergencies. I remember at one time when I had an emergency, I was able to move really from our area, that is in Arua, up to town, because there was no border. But when going back, I was able to find a good Samaritan who was able to really drop me up to home at a cheaper cost. And that is why we cannot really condemn them working at night, because sometimes they are there to offer services, because during the day the numbers are very many, the numbers of riders is quite huge, and at night the numbers are very few. So I think that is why we really need to ensure that we support the border riders, the border industry that is actually that is employing a number of youths. Because if you look at all these youths, where will they be with the kind of unemployment rate that we are having today? And now the border industry has actually paved way for them in terms of really earning something small for themselves. And that is why we really need support the industry in terms of providing for them security, and that would actually really ensure that they are helped. Because if they're not helped, then definitely that will also not be good for them. Because if we really continue talking about this and then we do not provide solutions for them, then definitely we are talking for nothing. So I think there's need for the government to provide security in terms of the security lights. We have seen the streets of Rural City, most of them being lit up, which to me is quite good, and that is a commendable job. We really appreciate the city council for. But now there's more. Some of these areas have remained dark, more so the dark spots where some of these bodabodas are strangled in. So I think there's also need for the lighting to be extended to these areas, and I think if Kokoliriko unites, that is with the city council, that would also really ensure that these areas are lit up, because some of these areas are being dark spots for these criminals to hide in. And if somebody really books you as a bodaboda, you do not know where the person is taking you, you do not know the person's intentions, and they actually claim sometimes they have the emergency. So I think the bodaboda riders need to be careful of such people, and really in some of the dark areas you need not to go there, because this is where we have seen the bodabodas or maybe the criminals hiding in and really to take advantage of you. So I think that is why people need to really move away from cases of being strangled, because we have seen this happening quite often, which to me is quite unfair, because you are strangling somebody and you're taking the motorcycle away from this person, then definitely that is very much bad. So I think there's need for the people to really ensure that they really beef up their security, because your security lies in your hands first. If somebody is telling you to take them to the dark spots, or maybe some of the spots that we have been known for, that have been known for criminality. If you move to where some of these areas have been known for criminality, I will not be able to mention names, but we have already known some of these areas have been labeled as dark spots, or maybe as hot spots for criminality. If somebody is telling you, my humble advice to you is that do not go to these areas. Maybe if you also know some areas are very dark, do not really also go to these areas, and ensure that your motorcycle is efficient, and the motorcycle that you're using at night needs to be very much efficient in terms of that is fuel, maybe in terms of the mechanical conditions, because really if your motorcycle is able to really die, maybe have a breakdown in an area that is very bad, then definitely the thieves may be able to take advantage of you and rob you of the property that you have, because they may not be able to really spare your life. That is why we need to ensure that when working at night, we need to ensure that some of the areas that we move to and the areas that we know and are not bad in terms of providing security, we know these are the areas that are really good, such that our lives are not in danger. So I think that is why we need to really ensure that we have our number one mandate in our lives. Our security needs to lie in our hands. That definitely will be able to also really pave way for our safety, because our safety is very much key. It lies in our hands. So I think there's need for all the parents really, or maybe the bodaboda riders, because some of you do understand that now this is the time for us to go back to school, as we are sending our children back also. The bodaboda riders also, you need to be very much serious on the roads. You need to take the safety precautions on the road. And remember recently, before opening up schools, the Department of Police did issue guidelines of not carrying more than 2. And really, if you are to also really carry more than 2, you need to ensure that these children really below the 12 years move with a parent, or maybe it's an adult. So I think this is where the safety precautions comes to you, the bodaboda riders, because you all have a right to play. You all have a role to play in terms of ensuring safety of the learners or safety of everyone on the road, because you as the rider, you are the number one driver of our lives, because while you're carrying us, you need to be very much serious. You need to be very much focused, because sometimes really you wonder some of these bodaboda riders, more so the youth, how they sit on these motorcycles, how they ride it, the speed at which they move is very much alarming, because you are putting our lives at danger. So I think that is why we need to ensure that really we desist from cases of overspeeding, we desist from cases of overriding, which to me also puts our lives at danger, because you as the rider, you need to ensure that your lives your life is safe, because you not only your life, the person you're carrying who is sitting as a passenger also needs to ensure that his or her life is in safe hands. So I think this is why we need to ensure safety in terms of the bodaboda industry, and we also need to support them in terms of providing security for them. So with that, really, we are going to be running for a short commercial break. In case you're just joining us right now, please do not touch that dial. Remain watching Western Television. We shall be able to bounce shortly from now and be able to really give you more insights and updates to some of the stories that may be the talk of the nation. So I think this is where you need to always watch Western Television. And this is the Kokoliriko Morning Updates with me, Farish Majid. And we are still stretching up with you up the hour of 9 a.m. For now, let's take a short commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back to my short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko morning updates with me, Farish Majid, and we are still continuing with you up there of last 9 a.m. And remember, so many stories have been able to really being discussed here. We did start from schools. We also did talk about the Tarehe Sita, and now we are talking about lots more. We still have lots more. And remember, as the UPDF is celebrating the Tarehe Sita celebrations, the head of, that is the army chief, President Museveni, has said he earns little salary. So I think, I do not know what you make of that, and that is why really I must say we are still continuing with the show, and really that is quite sad there, and really moving away from that. So many things are happening, and on the papers we are also seeing UK's King Charles III diagnosed with cancer. I don't know why cancer must be really very much dangerous like that. The king remains wholly positive and looks forward to returning to full public duty as soon as possible in the statement that we read. So I think the king, for those of you who know who the king is, definitely we are also seeing that the king has now been diagnosed with cancer. King Charles III has been diagnosed with a form of cancer and has begun treatment, and Buckingham Palace said on Monday, just a week after he was discharged from hospital that is for prostate cancer. Remember, prostate cancer is one of the diseases that is actually killing men when it comes to even world over, men above 40 years. And remember, recently the government of Uganda said they are going to have mandatory testing that is for the cancer. So I think prostate cancer is actually one they will be able to really also really check in there, because we have had so many people dying to this disease. Now the pronouncement prompted a flood of messages of support, with the 75-year-old monarch's estranged son Prince Harry saying he had spoken with the king about his diagnosis and would visit his father. His younger son, who now lives in California, with his wife Meghan said he will travel to see the king in the UK over the days coming. So I think the source close to Harry said this. So I think for those of you who know the politics of that area, for those who have followed this, you will be able to really know how dangerous this disease is. So I think it's one of the diseases that I must say is very, very much dangerous, and why you need not really also really pray for ourselves to have it. So I think it is very much dangerous, but now the disease the king remains still positive, and he starts off treatment. So I think Charles, who became king upon the death of his mother, that is Queen Elizabeth II, who died on the 8th of September 8th of 2022, has generally enjoyed a good health, barring injuries from polio and skiing. So I think, but the palace said that during his recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. So I think the palace said this. Now the plaudits. In the meantime, he had been advised by doctors to postpone public duties, although he would continue to undertake business and official paperwork as usual. So I think the king would really applaud. So I think the king will want plaudits for being open about the disease, with the doctors saying many more members of the public had become forward with symptoms. So I think this really, we are still praying for the king, and that definitely tells us how really this disease is very dangerous. You know, so many lives are being lost to this disease when it comes to Africa, and really ours, it is very much different, because our cases are very much different. In most cases, we do the diagnosis when the disease has already moved with us, because sometimes also people lack access to information about certain diseases, more so such diseases. People lack access on maybe in terms of really getting that is the various other maybe treatments. So really, so that is why it is very, very much important really for us to embrace going for early checkup, because cancer, according to what the medics have said, if diagnosed early, it can be treated, or maybe it can be it can be curable. But in most cases, why people die to this disease when it comes to these places of ours, more so our regions, more so Uganda, northern Uganda, is because at times we also get diagnosis very late, and that really also puts us at danger. So I think that is why it is very much dangerous. So I think we need to really ensure that once we start getting such complications, we need to embrace early treatment and early checkup. So that would also really protect us from getting these diseases. So I think that is why it is very much important for us to always ensure that we get this disease checked early, and that would also really ensure that we get the right treatment to it. So I think I want to call upon each and everybody, once you get this disease, once you get feelings of this disease, you need to get the early treatment. In women, it is the cervical cancer that is killing so many, and not forgetting breast cancer, because these are the three cancers that are killing so many people and so many lives over the years. We have really been able to really see so many people dying to this disease. So I think that is why it is very, very much important for us to ensure early checkup, because early checkup is the way to go. And once you check yourselves early, then the treatment will be able to really get, you could be able to get the treatment, because if then they could actually subject to the therapies, and then you know the doctors of cancer, how they do it. And remember, cancer treatment is really still quite expensive, and really I want to call upon the government now to ensure that the cancer, which is one of the diseases that is killing so many people now, the government needs to build hospitals for it. Because if you look at really, in Uganda here, we have the Uganda Cancer Institute, that's at Mulago, being the sole that is entity that is providing that treatment. And remember, government had put efforts in terms of ensuring that building that is several cancer centers in all the regions to really support this, because all this disease, all the really cases are being transferred to Mulago. One time back, I had an aunt who now is late, really succumbed to breast cancer, who was taken to Mulago. You will be able to really see people's pains, because if you do not have money at this facility, then definitely you are going to die, because you are going to die in the shortest time period, in the shortest time that possible, because really the disease, the drugs are quite expensive, the treatment is quite expensive itself, and now with the late diagnosis, sometimes also the doctors really do not tell you that the disease has already moved, where you have to spend a lot of money. I will say this, really, that is quite shocking, because really we need to ensure that people are supported, and now the government needs to build up several of these facilities that, to me, will be able to really improve on the people's livelihood, or maybe people's health, because cancer is one disease that is now making people lose lives each and every day. People are dying to cancer. Move to Mulago, you are seeing dead bodies being ferried out, and this is to cancer. So I think cancer is one disease that if the government really now comes out clearly to really support and ensure that this disease is treated, then it will be able to really also see to it that the deaths can be reduced. So I think that is why I want to call upon government to ensure that this dream of building, that is regional centers, is beefed up, because according to the information, Arua is supposed to have one, then Lango sub-region is supposed to have another, not forgetting actually, all these are supposed to have centers, and that will be able to also really reduce on the cases of numbers of the people really flooding, that is the Cancer Institute, because there, if you move, you could really see the caretakers sleeping on the verandas, because the facility cannot accommodate everybody really to see to it that they really spend days there. And now this is why really there is need for government to really ensure that this dream of building these facilities is really beefed up, and that will, to me, also really improve on the health and then reduce on the deaths, because really cancer continues to claim so many lives, that is countrywide. So I think that is why, if the government is to reduce and really also help the people and the masses in terms of really ensuring that the lives that are lost to this disease is reduced, and then definitely the way to go is building these health facilities, and to me, which are still lacking, and cancer institutes need to be established in all the places, in all the regions within the country, and that would actually decongest, that is Mulago at the Cancer Institute, which to me is very much congested. If you move there up to now, even if I'm talking right now, move there right now, you will be able to see the place is very much flooded. The patients are sleeping on really grounds. Sometimes the beds are not enough because the numbers are overwhelming. Cancer remains a disease that is quite affecting a huge number of populations. So I think that is why there's need to now also really support the health sector by building such facilities. That to me would actually really improve on the health of the masses. Moving away from that, and remember former Amin soldier, that's Major Gowan, who died earlier last week, was actually laid to rest. So I think that is over the weekend, and that is why I must say we, as the people of Western Sub-Region, actually lost one of the army chiefs that was in the government that was once here. So I think the Idi Amin regime, and now somebody may be asking himself, who exactly is Major Yusuf Gowan? And definitely that is something I must be able to sort of tell you. And Major Yusuf Gowan was born in 1936, and really he served as a prison warder, rose through the military ranks, largely due to combination of factors. He was viewed by Amin as a person without ambition, and therefore could not overthrow his boss. So I think this is why we need to really also sometimes work, more so the people who really, if you're working and really if you're an employee, sometimes your ambitions also need not to be exposed, because if somebody is ready to look at you, if you are overambitious, sometimes people will be able to really also fear with you. And remember, despite that, not being an ambitious person, he was also really somebody who was very much funny. So this fact also contributed to him rising through these ranks, because, you know, Idi Amin is one person who loved fun. He loved living a jolly life. So I think this is why we are talking about him also rising through these ranks. And he was buried on Saturday, and really I do understand that also on Sunday, the final prayers were also held for him, and we did see the dua taking place. And remember, so many dignitaries actually came in for this burial, and that is why we cannot be able to really leave it out, and we have to continue praying for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And he was actually described as a tough but soft-spoken army officer who served during President Idi Amin's regime. And really, Major Yusuf Gowan, who died since, lived a peaceful life, and that is why we also need to really ensure that we live peaceful lives. And definitely, if that is not the case, then definitely that will be able to really cost us. And that is why I want to appeal to each and everybody to ensure that we live a peaceful life. You need not to be feared as that army commander or as that army chief because of that relationship you have. Because really, if you look at really who Major Yusuf Gowan is, for those that visited him during his sickly days at the Royal Regional Hospital, he was still one that kept on interacting, and his memory, I must say, is very much sharp, and really so many people he continued to remind people about maybe the golden days. And what does that mean? If you are really, remember that position you're holding, and this goes to the people who are serving, the bosses, really, sometimes, maybe the people you lead, or maybe that kind of lifestyle you're living. Remember, it's not permanent. So I think it is why we need to really respect us, because if you interact with these people, really, sometimes the stories that they will tell you how they enjoyed life, sometimes really you start painting images of maybe how nice life was during that time. So I think this is a call to everybody now to ensure that really we need to work very much hard with the population. We need to work together, and that definitely will be able to really see to that we are remembered. So I think so many people really turned up for this burial, where we did see the president condolences, where he did send 10 million for the burial arrangements. We also did see the NRM Secretariat contributing, that is 5 million towards this burial exercise. So that is something I must say it was quite commendable. So many dignitaries actually came for this burial which did take place in Arua City. And Major Yusuf Gowan actually hails from, that is Koboko, and really, I must say, we continue for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And his humility won him several friends who have been frequenting his place to take care of him during his ill days. And that is why I said it earlier on, sometimes you need not to move away from the people that you work with, because if you at the time you not have, they will be able to really remember you and they'll also really extend back to you. So I think that is why we need to work together with each and everybody. We need to support one another. At the end of the day, that will also really help you when you're not having. So I think for those who are related with him, he was an authority on matters of the military whose history he shared with many upon his visit. Yes, that is one thing I said earlier on. For those who visited him even during his sickly days, he kept on telling people the stories of how life was, because really this is something I must say, it is quite good. And remember, his children, these are people with whom we interact, and we have actually really also seen the children, one is a religious leader. We have often kept on interacting with him here and there, and he has actually shared us how life, maybe how his father was faring. So I really, time has come also for him to go and rest with the Lord, and we shall be able to pray for his soul to rest in eternal peace. And as Muslims, we shall be able to solidly say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun, because that is the last thing we say, because usually when somebody dies, that is what we say. So I think it is very much important for the people now to continue just praying for him. And now he succumbed, that is to heart failure, that is at Arua Regional Referral Hospital last Friday. And this was on Friday. He was actually laid to rest on Saturday, and on Sunday the final dua was held. So I think this is something now I must also really talk about. In a speech read, in President Museveni's speech read by the National Resistance Movement Secretariat, Ms. Naham Maidino Jale, during the burial on Saturday, the president said they forgave each other of the past events of long time ago. So I think that is something that we are talking about, reconciliation. And remember, Tarehe Sita today is actually also honored in terms of the reconciliation. So I think it is very much good for people to always reconcile. It's good for us to always put our differences aside. That is for the good of the development. If you are really having differences, even this is something that we always see, if you are having differences with somebody, then definitely that will not be able to really greatly impact on the lifestyle. So I think it is good for people to really also, because we cannot live without conflicts. Conflicts are part of life. Really, I must say, without conflict, then there's no society. We shall be able to really ensure that we really live with, that is, with conflict. So I think that is where we need to also really talk about. And now moving on from that, the Deputy Speaker orders probe into Moroto Hospital maternity deaths, and that is something that we have been talking about. We have been talking about health, and really we are still going to talk about health. Uganda's Deputy Prime Minister, Uganda's Deputy Speaker, that is Thomas Tayebo, has directed the Minister of Health to launch, that is a full investigation into the alarming number of maternal deaths occurring at Moroto Regional Hospital. This action follows urgent concerns raised by a Member of Parliament, that is Faith Nyakut, who detailed a disturbing pattern of mothers dying shortly after childbirth and babies deprived of the opportunity to breastfeed. So I think that is why this issue is coming, and that is quite good, because really if this issue is not looked into, then the number of deaths will be able to really continue, because this is now something that is depriving the newborns. Your mother dies at maternity, which is quite good. Then I think there's now need for government also to also have an eye on and have an understanding of what is happening in that area there, because maternal deaths really sometimes leave the children really grow as orphans, and really which to me is not quite good there, because growing as an orphan without a mother is one thing that is quite very much shocking, because mothers, we know them, because as a mother really we know you are the heroes, you are the number one doctors actually yourselves, because once a child is sick, it is the mothers that usually detect it very fast, not even the fathers. So I think a child that really grows without a mother may not be able to also really enjoy that life that we talk about. So I think really this concern follows the numbers of deaths that have been registered. And now MP Nyakut's testimony. Nyakut presented the tragic case of Nadia Sarah, a 21-year-old mother who died following complications during childbirth at the hospital. She further alleged that Sarah's case wasn't isolated, highlighting numerous instances where mothers have lost their lives to alleged mismanagement and reliance on interns for critical procedures. This is why it said there is need for now government to have an eye and make an understanding of what is happening there. What could be the reason? Could it be that doctors who are employed by government are sleeping on duty, and now we are seeing that the burden of these mothers have been actually left on interns, because you are relying on an intern, somebody who is actually there to get knowledge. which to me is very, very much bad. So I think the doctors who are really doing this are doing a disservice to the nation, because these are the mothers of the nation. And really, that is something I must say is not quite good there. And really, I now want to call upon the government to really ensure that these doctors who are doing this thing negligently and purposely need to be brought to book. Because at most cases, we also have cases where these doctors sometimes abandon these medical facilities and move for other private businesses, which to me is very, very much bad, because somebody continues to lose their lives due to your negligence, and you are leaving now interns, which to me you are there to guide, and then you're leaving them to do the work which you're supposed to do. Is quite sad, and really doctors of that hospital need to really also come out and clearly explain this. And Deputy Speaker's response, recognizing the sovereignty of the situation and acknowledging reports of the widespread deaths, Tayebo emphasized the need for immediate action. He directed the Ministry of Health to conduct a comprehensive investigation into Moroto and all across the regional referral hospitals. So I think what is happening in Moroto could be the same that is happening in the rest of the referral hospitals that we are talking about. So I think there's need for the doctors now to ensure that they really work towards helping the society, because you took an oath as that medical facility that you are going to serve these mothers or this population without any borders, but now you are absconding from duty, which is quite shocking, and you make people really to continue losing their lives, which to me is quite shocking. And then there's need really for people to really ensure that they actually work towards that, and that is definitely something that we are talking about, and really we still look forward to having that discussion. So really we need to also really ensure that what is happening there could not be what is happening in Arua City here, because we may be talking about what is happening in Moroto, that is in Karamoja. Could be the same case that is happening in West Nile sub-region here. So what does that mean? Then that means that mothers who could be there for their children to really breastfeed them die. So which to me is quite bad, because at the end of the day, if a mother is dying that is negligence of a medical personnel, then definitely it means that somebody is sleeping on duty. So what are the DHOs doing? What are the police officials doing? What are security agencies doing? What are you, the mothers, doing to see that these cases are brought down? That is why we need to really ensure that we really work towards that. So if that is not happening, then definitely we shall be able to really also continue seeing that. And remember, so many things are being talked about, and now government bolsters infrastructure to address increasing cancer cases. We talked about cancer earlier on, and this is now one of the headlines. Also, it is also being talked about here. Cancer remains a disease that is really claiming lives so many days. So in health, really, there's need now for the infrastructure to be developed, because if that is not the case, then definitely we shall be able to so really continue losing the lives of our mothers and innocent people, because really we are talking about this disease. All these diseases really continue to really affect so many lives, because really if you look at that, definitely that is something also really that is affecting so many lives. And looking at the headlines here on the Monitor paper, that is Uganda Cancer Institute lists top 7 causes of cancer in Uganda, and that is why you need to also really sometimes know what causes cancer, and then definitely that will be able to really also impact on your health, because your health is very much key. Remember, health is wealth, as some people usually say. But really, if we do not know maybe what is causing the disease, then definitely that will also really continue to make us lose our lives, because you do not know what is causing the disease. So health experts at Uganda Cancer Institute have highlighted sexually transmitted infections, unhealthy diets, polluted environment, and skin bleaching as some of the top risk factors for cancer in the country. Really, if you were to look at all this, sometimes bleaching, most of our ladies want to be red women. Look at in Arua, all the now Quakers become a Quaker. The word of Quaker has really become a Quaker, where people want to become brown by force, not forgetting the risk factors they are going to move with. Why people want to bleach? Because they want to impress the men, which to me is quite bad. Look at Arua City, really. Most of the ladies, there was a time I moved away from Arua City for about 1 year. By the time I returned back, some of the ladies that I left that were dark-skinned more than me, look at me, I'm very black. But really, some of the ladies that I left here who were darker than me, by the time I returned back, they were Muzungus. So I think it is quite bad. Why must you change your colors? And yet you're putting your life at danger. So not forgetting that. So I think that is something that really is quite bad. Now look at the health, the risks such as unhealthy diets. People really do not mind of what they eat. Sometimes some of the food that we cook is not good. So really we apply chemicals which really also increase on our lifestyle. Really we are talking about so many chemicals that we really, yes, want to eat good food. But the good diet we're talking about here is not that delicious food we're talking about, because really sometimes the chemicals that you're applying there could be the ones that are really that causing the diseases there. Now look at the environment. Sometimes the factories that we live in, and then the roofings that really, the asbestos we have been talking about, all this contribute to cancer. Really, I think there's now need a lot for people to be sensitized about cancer, and Uganda Cancer Institute needs now to come out clearly and have that is continuous teaching of the masses about really cancer, because cancer continues to really claim so many lives each and every day. And we are talking about cancer. Cancer remains a disease which is really claiming so many lives. Now, according to the government statistics, Uganda Cancer Institute registered around 3,500 new cancer cases. That was in 2015. But number of new cases registered annually has now increased to around, that is 7,500. Look at 7,500. This is quite huge. And these are the reported cases. What about the unreported? To me, that is something I do not know really. Dr. Nixon Nyonzima, the head of research at that is Uganda Cancer Institute, said cervical cancer, which is infection related, is the most commonest in Uganda among women, and the prostate is the most commonest among men. Dr. Alfred Zatho, that is the head of community service, the cancer services at Uganda Cancer Institute, said that besides that, cancer of cervix is also, the liver cancer is also infection related. So I think people need now to really come out and really have an understanding of what causes cancer. So I think really in the coming days, we need to really also bring an cancer institute, an expert maybe from the region, to really come and talk to the masses also about cancer, because this is a disease that really continues to make people lose so many lives each and every day. And remember, I did talk about some of the causes about cancer. Bleaching, which is really quite many here. We have women who are bleaching. And then we have also seen men who have engaged in this act because they want to become brown men, which to me is very much bad. So because really God created in the color, why do you want to change? That color that is black, so many people are appreciating that. You can never buy black. Women, really, somebody may not be able to really love you for women, for that brown color you're having. Look at the Bazungu. When they come here, they did not go for you, the bleachers. They did not even go for you, the brown women. But they look for that dark-skinned woman. Rather, instead of you, my advice to you really is that instead of wanting to please men by becoming brown, better remain that color and work hard. Maybe also empower yourself economically. They will come. So I think there's need for now women to ensure that they desist from cases of bleaching. Really, to me, which I'm against that. Really, if you look at Arua City, really, sometimes you look at women. Sometimes we say people carry brown faces with black legs. And no, I know right now, those who are watching this, the bleachers, may not be able to listen to this. But I'm telling you this. You may not be able to really watch me on, oh, want to hear me say this. But I'm telling you, it is for your benefit. Let's desist from cases of bleaching, because bleaching is very bad, because it has been actually attributed as one factor that has been contributing to the cancer cases, which is very much alarming. So I think if we don't desist from that, then it is our call that maybe we want to die of cancer, because really you're talking about cancer, bleaching has been attributed. We continue to talk about bleaching, but you find the people the following day going to buy these lotions that has been contributing to bleaching. Then really you wonder, at the end of the day, if such a person contracts cancer, are we really there to blame? Is the government really there to blame? Who is there to blame? Then we do not know, because people do not want to listen. This is to ladies, really. I must say, I'm not attacking women, I'm not attacking you ladies, I'm not attacking you the people who want to bleach. But I'm against the disease, because cancer really continues to make people lose their lives each and every day. So to desist from this case, let's stop from bleaching. Let's mind of our diet. Let's eat healthy. When I talk about eating healthy, that does not mean that we have to eat that delicious food that really comes with a lot of sugars, that really, where we have to apply a lot of chemicals when cooking. These have been attributed as factors contributing to the cancer cases that we are witnessing in the region. So I think if we are to do that, then we shall be able to really reduce the cases of infections when it comes to cancer. That at the end of the day will be able to really help us in terms of reducing the number of deaths. We are talking about 7,500 cases being registered annually, which to me is quite huge. And really, for those who are bleaching, I'm not attacking you today, you need to move to Cancer Institute, that's at Molagwa, and see how the patients there are suffering. None of them wants to be there, but sometimes the pain they go through, to me, which is really quite alarming, because sometimes people get to know that they have cancer very late, really, to me, because also really, if we had maybe the testing centers, and then the rates are also very cheap, people would be able to really get the diagnosis early and then seek for treatment early. So I think the treatment, which to me is also really quite huge and quite expensive, if government is to really come up and also really reduce on that, then definitely that will be able to really help us as people of this region who will continue to die of cancer each and every day. And that would also really greatly impact on the numbers of people who will be able to really lose their lives. And then to the men, let us love the women the way they are. Let us stop looking for quickers who are, as have one factor really. If we continue to really look for these brown women, we are leaving the black ones, which to me also really is affecting now the women, because women have to really impress men. And then the way they are going to impress us is by bleaching, because really you want the bleach. I don't know why people really sometimes want this bleach, these bleaching agents. Really, it is quite bad. So I think there's need for people to desist from this really bleaching concerns. And then the men, you need to love your woman the way they are. Even if you love a black woman, nobody's going to attack you for it. That is your choice. Let us stop forcing women into bleaching, because really what we are doing, instead of going for this, everybody, we want to look for the brown ones. So that is at the end of the day forcing these women to really look for monies and buy these lotions and to become brown to impress you. So I think with that we are really going to be running for a short commercial break, and when we return back we shall be able to pick up with the conversation there. But for now, do not touch that dial. Remain watching West Nile Television. This is the Kokoliriko Updates with me, Farish Majid. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from a short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko Morning Updates with me, Farish Majid, and really, I want to very much appreciate each and every one of you really commenting there, and also really the topics that we discuss here are for the benefit of the community. So I think we are here to enlighten the region, and one way we are going to enlighten the region is actually through discussing issues that happen in the region and really affect us as the region, and that is why we need to ensure that we really come out clearly to really also help the masses out, because if we do not do that, then definitely we shall be able to really lag behind in terms of development. And we did discuss a lot of issues that is in relation to education, where we did talk about schools reopening. And that is why I must say we talked about extensively, because schools did open yesterday, and today is the second day where we also see some learners still remaining in home. And really that is, to me, which is quite unfortunate, because learning resumes, that is from the first day, and really some of these learners actually have not been engaged, that is in the education activities. If you look at West Nile, for all these days, they have been able to just be loitering. Some of the children actually did not open books, that is for the entire holiday. They did not actually really check in to see to it that they remind themselves of school. And now school is opening, some still continue to remain home. That is why we really said it is not good. So they need to resume, and this is the first week. They can still be able to resume in the coming days. And today they can actually go to school, and those who cannot be able to report today can still report tomorrow. But all in all, they must ensure that they send their children back to school. And remember, we did talk about some parents who actually spent a lot of money during festive season, and now they are finding it very much difficult to see that they send their children back to school. But really, I know being a parent is very difficult, because really sometimes you have to really provide for these children and balance here and there, which to me also is quite very dangerous. So I think really it becomes difficult for people to really also ensure that they also really benefit and really help their children out. We did talk about the cancer, also diseases that is really affecting a number of really people. And now we did talk about the king that is also being affected by, that is information from the Buckingham. So I think we have now been told the king is facing, is also suffering from cancer, but now he's under treatment. And the king remains very much optimistic and remains very strong. And that is the spirit I really want to also call upon each and everybody. Once you're sick, you need to believe in yourself that you'll be able to really beat the sicknesses. That is why once people die, usually we say, he tried to fight his battle. Which battle are we talking about? Be strong, really believe in yourself that you'll be able to really get the treatment. Sometimes it is a mindset also where people, which contributes to people to die, because once people get to realize that they have certain diseases, their mind tends to run very much to death, which to me is quite very much bad. Because if you start thinking about death, then definitely that will not necessarily be good for you, because it is going to haunt you, it is going to affect your treatment and your response to medication. So positivity is always key, and that is why people need to always remain, that is very much positive, to see to it that they benefit really from certain medical treatments, and then that would also really benefit them. So I think there's need for these stakeholders, for the learners, and then for the children really to also ensure that they really get the medical treatment, and then the positive mindset that will, at the end of the day, also really benefit them in terms of really getting the treatment. So I think there's need for people now to really get the medical treatment now, to also see to it that they get the medical treatment and really ensure that they get treatment, and really having mindset that really that they're going to get healed is the way to go. Because once you realize that you're sick, in most cases people get depressed, people get ill feelings, and more so about certain diseases. Not only cancer, people who contract really find themselves that they have AIDS. In most cases, one factor that has really been draining them, because it is that, because really they start getting depressed, and sometimes the mindset, also the stigma that people really subject them to, is another thing that has been contributing to this, because really it is very much bad. We need to really come out clearly to now support these masses, and now that with that would also at the end of the day also really impact on the people's health. And really moving on from that, now there's a Portuguese national who is facing trial that is sexual abuse. And really last year we did see this Portuguese national identified as Almeida, who was now is now facing charges, actually trial in terms of really this case here. That is something we're also seeing on the papers. But sexual abuse really sometimes is something that really is very much dangerous. And according to the information we received, this person actually slept with a 16-year-old girl, really also after harboring the family for days in one of the places. So I think this is something also we're talking about. Now he's being appealed, that is sexual abuse, and also child trafficking. That is definitely something that we are talking about. So I think that is also we need to ensure that we talk about. So with that, really, if that is not addressed, then definitely that would also really ensure that we also leave it out. So I think there's need for people to really come out and really ensure that such cases I helped and responded to, because if that is not addressed, then definitely that would be able to really impact negatively on the people's people's lifestyle, and that would also not be able to so really improve or affect people's lives. So I think there's need for people to really come out clearly to ensure that they help their families and protect their families from such cases. So I think that is also something that we are talking about. If that is not addressed, then people will be able to slowly continue to suffer from that. And really, today also is an important day. It's the 6th of February. The UPDF will be able to really move in the society. And really, if you really get an encounter with them and you happen to meet them on the way, do not run away from them. Do not also be worried. They are celebrating this day that was historic for the 41 brave men who really started the fight against, that is, the government of Obote. And this is where we also see the UPDF that we have seen growing in numbers, actually. And that was also the day when the first bullet was released. And really, I must say, we honor this day, we all celebrate this day, and really we we look forward to celebrating it. And that definitely tells us about how really this day is going to be celebrated. So I think we need to also really honor this day. We need to come up with the UPDF to celebrate this day. At the end of the day, that will also really ensure that this day is really talked about. And now moving away from that, really, and some of the insights, lawyer Male Mavirizi, who is known for being controversial, is also going to face court summons about comments that he made during the wedding of, that is, the king of Busoga. Really, remember, so many people actually made jokes about this day. Some people actually made comments about about this wedding, really, where the president actually also really came out and really talked about it. So I think it is not good sometimes for us to take certain issues as jokes, because really the thing that you're taking as lightly may be able to really also have a backfire on you. Now the lawyer is actually going to also respond to those cases, and we shall be able to also really give you more about this when it comes tomorrow. And remember, so many things have been happening in this region, and really I must say all these have not been able to really be talked about. So I think we shall be able to really talk about this when it comes to the coming subsequent programs, and really shall be able to also let you know of what exactly is happening. So with that, really, let's be watching Western Television. Let's continue watching Western Television. Let's continue sharing our comments, and then maybe some of the insights on some of the things that we need us to talk about, and then some of the issues that maybe you feel that you want to share with us, and also see to that it can be able to also really help the masses out, because we are here to enlighten the region. And one way we are going to enlighten the region is actually through discussing issues that affect us here and internationally. So I think it is quite good, and for us to really continue talking about certain issues, because if we do not continue talking about these issues, then they will be able to really continue biting us, and they continue biting us harder and harder each and every day. So I think there's need for us to continue to talk about that, and that is why we come each and every morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Kokoliriko live show from Mondays to Fridays to talk about these issues here. And today is the Tuesday edition, and we are still discussing. And remember, the first edition of this week, I wasn't around, but I hope you had a wonderful time with, that is, Mukulia Lawrence, together with the respective schools. And tomorrow we look forward to having a team that is from our district, and we shall be able to really discuss a lot of issues that is in relation to the preparation for the 39th Liberation Day. And our district is now set to commemorate. They do not celebrate now, they are going to commemorate this day at the date that has been arranged. So they will be able to be with us here tomorrow and let us know about certain issues. But really, with that, allow me first run in for a short commercial break, and when I return back, really, I will be able to really expand more with the discussions there. But for now, let me first take in a short commercial break, and just a few minutes, and when I return back, I will be able to really now keep with the conversation from there. For now, let me take a short commercial break, and I return back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break, and now to some of the discussions with sports. And remember, sports is actually one aspect that has been followed by so many people, and I do understand that so many sports lovers actually been following this. And yesterday we didn't talk about this, and really I want to now break up this, also tell you that when Arsenal won at Liverpool, when Arsenal won against Liverpool, the 3-1 win was actually one thing that really so many people actually celebrated of. And remember, Arsenal has not yet moved to the top, and this is actually piling, that is pressure on the team that is currently sitting on the top of the log, that is Liverpool. And now yesterday, Man City actually did win 3-1 against Brentford, and the hat-trick by Foden is actually one that is now causing pressure on the rest of the teams. And remember, just like this, we have also seen so many teams actually coming out and really sweet, and with Man City currently having a match at hand. What does this mean for the log leaders, Liverpool? And with that loss against Arsenal, what does this really put them against us? That is something that we do not know. Are we going to see Man City really winning this trophy this season again? That is definitely something I do not know, but I must say we are still following up on. And remember, as Kokoliriko live show, we are actually there to follow on all the aspects ranging from entertainment. We are also then there to inform you, and we are also there to entertain you, and that is why each and every day we bring all the aspects, and we not exclude anything out. And that is why we come in place to always really let you know of what is happening in and around, maybe around the world, and then maybe the talk of the world. So that is why it is very, very much important. And remember, Man City has a game at hand, as Liverpool still continues to sit on the top of the log there, and more of that will be able to really be given to you by the sports team, that is Owen Ezaga, Linda Suzy together with Raku Benson. That is through the whistle time, that's starting from 2 to 3 p.m. and that is why you must make it a point to really watch this, and they will be able to really let you know of what is happening in and in the world of sports there. And really we want to come to the close of today's discussion, and I must appreciate each and every one of you for really being part of the show and really ensuring that you also really participate through sharing your comments with us. And that is why it is very, very much important for you to always watch West Nile Television from, that is 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. each and every Mondays to Fridays, and today has been a Tuesday edition. And my name is Farish Majid, and I want to appreciate in a special way each and all of you really for watching that television. And I want to also really extend my appreciation to those who kept it right from the time we began until this hour of the morning as we prepare to come to a close of today's discussion. And remember, up next will be the Eolas News Bulletin with Feta Emmanuel and Mukulia Lawrence, plus the rest of the team, who is actually very much determined and ready to give you also what is happening in the world of the news bulletin there. And that is why you must always make it a point to always really also understand and make a feeling of how the news can be able to be given to you in the language that you best know, that is the Lugbarati. And this is for the Lugbar speaking community and for everybody that actually understands the language. The team is very much, I must say, is very much determined and very much ready to also really let you know of what is happening in the world of Eolas. With that, really allow me come to a close of today's discussion, and in a special way I want to thank, that is my producer Senior Boniface, for really ensuring that the write-ups continue running the way they are. So, and really also want to appreciate Senior Dizon Pro for making me look that handsome on the screen. And with that, I come to a close of today's discussion. Up next is the news bulletin in Eolas with Fete Emmanuel. From me to you, have yourselves a good day. Thank you.